Hi, guys. Give me just a second. We're still getting situated. Hi, guys.
Oh, yeah, for your sign up.
Yeah, I did. All right, so we're still getting situated a little bit. The pups just finished eating their lunch. And they just got back from the park a little bit ago, so they'll probably be hopefully napping for most of this. Lotus, come here. Come here. Lotus. Say hi. Say hi. Yeah. Yeah. We have a completely new setup this week doing this, so bear with us if anything seems weird. We switched. Hey, Lotus. Can we not do that? You can't really see, and mostly that mirror is just gross. But we we have a completely new setup, so we're using Will's actual camera. Normally we use the laptop, and kind of the issues that we ran into with that is that it's kind of blurry or laggy on your guys' side. So we got some extra stuff, and we're going to try it this way and see if it works a little bit better this way for you guys. So any feedback on that would be appreciated, so that we kind of know going forward if we should use this system or if we should go back to just using the laptop.
Some extra stuff?
Yeah.
A lot of extra stuff.
This is all the extra stuff that we had to get to do the setup that we're doing today. And I think even one of those things is borrowed, correct?
Yeah, I had to borrow a tripod because I broke hers.
Yeah. All right. Lotus, can you lay down, please? How about we don't play with Porcupine right now? How about we don't play with Porcupine? All right, is everybody situated? All right. You're not going to be looking at the chat?
Oh, yeah, I guess I can. Oh, go ahead.
He was still in the shower at 10 till. That's how I feel about that situation.
Because I was at the park and doing a wipe down and setting all this stuff up, so.
All right, so let's see. Baller44 asked, how did you train your pups to really, Enzo, to stay? We actually don't use a stay command, but when we went through training with them, it kind of naturally happens because once they're put into a command, they have to stay in that command until we release them from it. And then the command that we use to release them is called break. So if we tell them to come and sit, they'll stay in that command. So naturally, they're just staying there until we break them. But again, that's not something, hey, Lotus, that's not going to be a toy we're going to be able to play with right now. No, we're not going to play with this right now.
Give him something else.
I'm going to give him something else. I'm going to give him a spanking is what he's going to get. He's seriously slap happy. He has no business right now. Come over here, please. Get on your bed. No business.
While Lotus is getting in trouble, thanks, Jordan, for the super chat or sticker or whatever that was.
Oh, boy.
Gotta go watch yesterday's video first.
Anyway, so for them to stay, that was something that we learned through the training that we went through with them. That's not something that we taught them on our own.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't get their nails done and their hair brushed, but they did get a wipe down before the live stream.
And then Strawberry Buddy, I feel like I kind of answered that question inadvertently. So we did not train them ourselves. We did training with them. In the training company, we get a lot of people that ask, Will's moving the camera right now, so that's going to get, yeah, there's Enzo and Lotus, of course. The training company that we went through is called Off Leash Canine Training. We get a lot of people that ask about that. Really, really fabulous company. We've actually had multiple subscribers. I would say probably 6 or 8 now that have also used that company due to our recommendation to do so. So that is the one that we sent them to. And we did the advanced package, but I don't feel like most people would really need the advanced package. We just did it for extra. There were a couple of extra things that we wanted Enzo to be able to do. For example, it was really hard to play fetch with him because he didn't want to ever let go of the ball.
He just wanted to play chase.
Yeah, he just wanted you to chase him, basically.
He prefers you not to.
So one of the commands that we did with him through the advanced package was out. And so that forces him to drop anything that he has in his mouth, which is really nice. So that's really, we just wanted to do a couple extra things with him, which is why we did the advanced package with him. But as far as Lotus is concerned, really the only reason why we did the advance with Lotus is so that we could work more on his reactiveness and kind of teach him and ourselves some strategies that we could use to overcome that. So that's really, truly the only reason why we extended Lotus's to the advanced. We didn't do that because he really needed...
We were paying Tim to just give us an hour of his time.
Yeah, pretty much.
We didn't need him to teach us to do anything. We just wanted his opinion.
Yeah.
What's next? Hello, how are you doing? Hello from Western Maryland. Hello from Edmonton. I saw one from Scotland. Why is there no light? Did you say something about light or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is it too dark maybe?
It looks bright on our screen. Does it look dark on your guys' screen? It is very cloudy here today too.
Yeah,
super overcast today.
Hello, porcupine. When is a good time to start the e-collars?
So e-collar training, if you are going to do a training program that does it with the e-collars, I believe 5.5 months is the earliest. 6 months is usually what's recommended. So with Enzo, we did his training kind of late in the game because he was really just obedient naturally, and we didn't really have a reason to put him through training. But as he got older and once he got neutered and stuff, it was just something that we thought was a good idea. And so he actually didn't go through training until he was about 11 months or 12 months old. Lotus, on the other hand, because of his reactiveness, we actually started his at 5.5 months, which was the earliest that you could possibly do. So Lotus went through his early, but if you're going to do an e-collar, I would recommend around that 6-month mark.
Strawberry Buddy asked, what is your favorite food to give them? Kind of food to give them? I think they may need snacks as well.
So their actual dog food that we give them, we get this question all the time. We feed them a brand called Gentle Giants. Initially, we started Enzo out on Royal Canin for German Shepherds and wound up switching around the time that we got Lotus. It could have been shortly after, I think, the time that we got Lotus. We switched over to Gentle Giants brand. And what we do is we buy the largest bag of chicken flavored and then the largest bag of salmon flavored, which is still a smaller bag. And we mix those two hard foods together. And then we also mix in Gentle Giant salmon flavored soft food for 2 of their 4 meals a day. So that's what we feed ours. In addition to snacks, Blue Buffalo is really the biggest brand that we stick with. So they have like these health bars, which we just call them cookies. They're not really cookies though. And they make them in a few different flavors that the pups like. They're usually like fruit-ish type of flavors. So they like those for snacks. And we do Blue Buffalo training treats, which I think those are technically like for babies.
Yeah,
but
well, they're training.
They're for puppies, but we still give it.
So they're super unhealthy, but they're also super tiny.
They're like your fingernail, like as small as your smallest.
When Enzo's 105 pounds, I mean, we're talking maybe a couple a day.
You can give them a significant amount.
All right, so Ayub Agha, how can I make sure my dog doesn't run away?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of different things with that. One, if your dog is one that runs away, you're going to want to keep them on a leash or a harness of some sort. But you could also train them to not run away. I'm not sure how difficult that is to do because we've never really ran into that issue. Ours are like Velcro.
Yeah, I will say that, if you never let them run free, they're going to be more inclined to want to run free.
Yeah.
So
we, from the very get-go with both of ours, let them be off leash even as puppies, and we just kind of set those boundaries, from a really young age. So like if we were out in the front yard, if you guys have ever watched videos where they're in the front yard, we don't have a fence around our front yard. And so what we would do when they were little is when they approached, the curb out to the street, we were just like, just let them know, like, hey, no, you're not allowed to step into the street. And that's enough negative reinforcement, for them at that point in time when they're so young and they're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And so that's kind of how we've handled that. But yeah, the thing, like how Will said, the more you don't let them be free, the more they're going to want to be free. And so,
yeah,
if you could always train that on your own, or you could seek out a trainer that can help you with that. We're really lucky because we have done the e-collar training. And so that allows us very quickly and very efficiently to correct a behavior that's undesirable. So if they were to do that, it's very easy to just say off or come, and they recall right to us.
Michael Chalk asked how we felt about Petsmart puppy training class.
We do not ever recommend the Petsmart puppy training class. I have known
For the record, we've never used it.
We've never used it. We have been in there while it's going on. And we have obviously a pretty decent amount of experience of seeking out a professional trainer. And, I will overhear things that are going on while we're in there and a class is going on. And I'm like, no, that's really not the way that you should do that. At least from what we've been told from our trainer. Now, our trainer trained German Shepherds in the military. And so I very, very much trust his opinion, and any information that he gives me or tells us, I trust that. So like Will said, we have never done anything through PetSmart, but we never recommend that. To me, it just seems a little bit better to go through a professional like the company that we have gone through.
Strawberry Buddy wanted to know, do we yell at our dogs or beat them? Obviously, we don't beat them, and we try not to yell. Sometimes it gets the best of you because yelling doesn't help.
So Enzo was a little bit easier when it came to that stuff. Like if you yelled at him, he would just, or raised your voice, really not yelling, but like if you raised your voice at him, he would correct the behavior pretty quickly because he's a people pleaser. With Lotus, though, and his personality and reactiveness and his anxiety, if you yell at him, or you raise your voice at him, he actually will cower. And so once we got him and we recognized that what kind of toll that was taking on him, we really try super, super hard not to raise our voice at either of them, just because it has a really negative effect for him. So, we really don't.
And then Sue asked, she said, hi from England. My vet told me to use cotton buds to clean my dog's ears. My groomer said no. What's your opinion? I don't have an opinion, but I'd probably go with a vet over a groomer.
We do not clean Enzo and Lotus's ears anymore.
I clean Lotus's a little bit.
You do it with like an actual towel, though. Yeah. So Lotus's ears used to get super, super dirty when he was a baby because he was always running behind Enzo. And so all of the mud and wetness and dirt that Enzo would kick up from running, it would go on Lotus's face and in his ears. So when he was really little, his ears would get super, super dirty. Well, I, would attempt to clean them and do the best that I could. And one time, or I guess over time of me cleaning them, too much moisture got down into his ears, and it actually gave him a yeast infection inside of his ears from that moisture not drying up quick enough. And it was like this huge traumatic thing for him because he already doesn't like going to the vet. And then like we had to put drops in his ears, which then he was really resistant to. And it was like a very long drawn out process. And like, it really didn't want to go away. Finally, we got it to go away, but it was this huge ordeal. So we do not clean their ears. Will sometimes will take like a terry cloth towel, like that you see him wipe them down with, and just like barely get that damp, and like will clean like, where you can reach, like not down in there at all.
Yeah.
So we actually let the groomer deal with their ears.
We had a super chat sticker from Enzo, but I think you might have answered it. How much is the advanced training?
No, I didn't. I have answered it before, but I haven't answered it today. So the advanced package with the company that we go through is between $800 and $900 now. I think it's closer to 900 now, where when we did it with Enzo, it was closer to 800. The basic package, I believe, is between $400 and $500. And that's a pretty reasonable price because you get the e-collar and the remote that goes with the e-collar with the training, which that typically I think is around $200. So I think it's fairly reasonable.
Nayla Bear asked, while training, dealing with distractions.
That's something that
It's just the time.
yeah, it will go away over time. So the more that you work on it with them, the more that the distractions won't bother them anymore. So I can remember when we first went through training with Enzo and like healing him. We started out like healing him on the street because there was a lot less distractions here. And then I can remember we're like, all right, let's try healing at the park when there's other dogs and other people around. And he would break the command all the time, or he would get distracted, not be looking at us and not keeping where he's supposed to be because there's a very specific bubble that they're supposed to stay in. And I can remember that took time to get him to not be distracted while in commands. And honestly, it was just exposing him to distractions while giving him commands over time that helped that kind of go away.
Yeah. They're doing well other than the stay command at 16 weeks.
Stay is just really hard.
Stay is really hard, yeah.
Especially for puppies.
For pups, for sure.
And then
How will training change or improve when you start having kids? I don't know, do they make college with kids?
The thing that we always tell people who have kids in the household is you have to have consistency throughout. So like if I give the command one way or I do it a certain way, then Will needs to do it the same way. And then, anybody else that would be giving that command needs to do it the same exact way. So everybody needs to be on the same page. When there's inconsistency, that's when you'll notice the pup starts to just kind of do whatever he or she wants to do. It needs to be the same across everybody in the household. So that will just depend on how strict you are about other people doing it the way that it's supposed to be done.
somebody just asked how old they are when they got fixed. They were right around a year.
No, Lotus was younger, but Enzo was around.
Close.
Enzo was around a year. We did Lotus earlier
Not by
because
much.
of his reactiveness. But we tell most people to wait till about a year, so then they get all the hormones and everything that they need in their body. If you leave them intact longer than a year, you start to run the risk of some different types of cancers in males, especially. So we typically recommend about a year.
First time puppy tips. We did a whole video on that.
There is a whole video on the channel about first time owners and tips that you can, because I could sit there and talk about that for a very long time. Oh, you can give, is Riley in here?
I already did. Why is Lotus skittish? We've answered this a lot, but
Yeah,
hard to
I
say.
wouldn't even really say skittish. That's it. He's reactive and he's very high anxiety, and we have figured out through some research and things that we've tried that it's fear-based. We, however, do not know if that was something that he was born with, or if that's something where he was maybe mistreated at the breeder that we got him from. We really have no idea kind of what has brought that on, but we work on it every day.
3-month-old German Shepherd. Still, even though they carry around teething toys, they'll still drop it pretty quick and come back to biting on them. I would say get a different teething toy.
Yeah. Oh, there's Rally. Seriously, Rally. Yeah, get a different teething toy. Maybe try a different type or a different brand. I don't know the brand of the one that we have.
It's just a lot of them.
Yeah, I
honestly.
mean, there's a ton out there. The other thing is if they start biting on you specifically, make sure that you're saying ouch or yelping in a very high-pitched voice. Normally how they figure out not to do that behavior is they're around siblings, so their other brothers and sisters or parent, and they bite or nip the parent or the sibling, and the reaction from the parent or the sibling is to yelp, and they yelp very high-pitched voice, so that teaches them that that behavior is socially unacceptable. Well, if they're not around any other animals that they're doing that with and they can't realize that that's unacceptable, then really you have to be the one to step in and teach them that that's unacceptable. So we would just yelp or say ouch in a really high-pitched voice, and usually like that startles them. They don't understand like what in the world just happened, and they don't like it. So that tends to help a lot too.
What type of nail clippers do you guys use? We don't, because we don't do them.
It's the same thing with the ears. We do not clip their nails. I used to try to do Enzo's, and his nails are so insanely thick that any tool that I bought off of Amazon or anywhere else, it just never worked. And then I'm always worried about clipping them too short. So that's something that we also let the groomer do, is their nails.
Lisa just said that they finished e-collar training with amazing results.
That's awesome. The e-collar is very, very effective. It just has to be used the right way. And the pup and the human need to be trained on how to use it properly. I get at least once or twice a day, someone will ask me, where can I get that e-collar? What brand, is that e-collar? And you'll always see the same response come from me, and that I never really give an answer. I just tell them that they need to be properly trained on it. There's a lot of pups that are ruined and traumatized by misuse of e-collars. And so I really never give a whole lot of information on that. And it just, you really need to be trained on how to use it properly.
I didn't intend that to be a question, but okay. First of all, thanks to Marion for the super chat.
Thanks, Marion.
There was no question though. Bailey asked our thoughts on the Hills prescription diet that her vet recommended. Don't have any.
Yeah, I
experience
don't
with
know
that.
a whole lot about that. Is it Bailey?
Bailey Teague opinion?
Yeah, if
Or
you
Bailey Teague.
can tell me the reason why they have them on the prescription diet in the chat, I would love that. Unless there's a health reason why they would want them on the prescription diet, I'm not sure why you would be on a prescription diet, because it's a very bland diet. We've actually had to put both of Lotus has been on it before too. Yeah. Both of ours have been on it before, just to get like a stomach reset, because they have eaten something or something weird has happened. They've gotten into something they shouldn't have, or licked something at the park, who knows. And they'll get like a stomach situation, and like to the point where it's like lasting for more than a day. And I usually just call the vet and say, hey, can you give me a prescription for the prescription diet? And they typically do. And then we put them on it for like a week, and it just basically does a stomach reset. So it's a super bland diet, and it's usually very expensive. So unless there's a health reason attached to that, I don't know the benefits of having them on that. Yeah. And it may just be that I'm not educated enough on it as well.
Wade Harris wants to know how we got into shepherds. Did we grow up with dogs? What made you want to set them?
Neither one of us have had shepherds in the past. I've always just really loved that breed. Both of us have had family dogs growing up. Really all of my childhood, we had some sort of dog and cat in the house. Yeah, but Will was a little bit older before they got a pup in their house. So I've always had pretty much a dog. Shepherds, I don't know. I've just always really loved how easy they are to train. I don't really know why. Will initially wanted to get a Siberian Husky when we kind of sat down to make the decision on getting a dog, and I wanted a German Shepherd, and I think you kind of just wound up researching over a little bit of time.
Shepherds are about the easiest to train. Huskies are about the hardest. So
Huskies are extremely hard to train. And so Will was like, well, let's just get a German Shepherd. So we did. And not only did we get German Shepherds are great in general, but we got literally the exception to every rule of a German Shepherd. Like Enzo is literally like the best dog ever. I mean, he is just go with the flow, and he likes all animals.
He's just not typical German Shepherd.
He's not typical at all. He's the exception. So then we're like, oh my gosh, like German Shepherds are amazing. So then when we decided to get a second one, we're like, well, duh.
You decided?
I decided to get a second one. We're like, duh, we're definitely going to get another German Shepherd. Like, why wouldn't we? Because Enzo's so amazing. And then we got Lotus, who is the complete opposite of what Enzo is.
But also more normal.
Yeah.
Lotus is more normal.
Lotus is very much like most German Shepherds. So if you, I mean, just in the people that we talk to, and really, I mean, comments every day on the channel, I get someone that says, I have an 8-month-old German Shepherd, and he's exactly like Lotus. That is typical behavior of now Lotus is a little bit more extreme with his reactiveness. Not all Shepherds, I don't think that that's a super, super common thing. But Lotus is more typical. Enzo is more of the exception.
How do you know if I have a good breeder?
Research. I would research the heck out of the breeder. I wish that we had done more of that with Lotus's breeder. I actually did do a significant amount of research on Enzo's breeder, and I think that was just because it was our first dog that we were going to get. I didn't do as much research on Lotus's breeder, and I truly wish that I would have done a little bit more, but research. And then I always tell people to go visit the breeder. I would say like at least 2 times.
Yeah.
You know, that first time you might just want to go and look at their property and where they're keeping the pups and how are the parents kenneled.
Also go look at another breeder to compare.
Yeah, and then you're also going to want to go and look once the mom has the pups. You're going to want to go see the litter. Where do they keep them? How do they feed them? Like, what is the living situation? Are they inside or are they outside? Are they crated or are they not crated? So I always recommend going at least twice. If you get any kind of funny feeling at all, I would say move on to the next breeder.
And then what should I do if my dog does something wrong? Should I punish them? Really? I mean, I would physically punish them.
No.
But the only thing, like if Lotus is doing like something crazy or Enzo was doing something crazy, if you catch them in the act, you can put them in the crate as a timeout, but you have to literally catch it in the act.
Yeah, you can't do it after the fact. So like if you've gone somewhere,
15 seconds after the fact.
Yeah, if you've gone somewhere and you've come home and like, how many times have we come home and Enzo's eaten through a bag of?
Well, only once, but still, like there was nothing we could do about it at that point.
I think it was more than once, but you seem to think that Enzo's an angel all the time. Enzo just looked up at Will. Yeah, we don't really do, I mean, there's a consequence to actions that they do that are undesirable, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a punishment.
Yeah.
Punishment to me seems like more of like scolding, and we don't really do that. Now, there are instances where Lotus is off the chain and I'm like, you got to go in your crate for at least 2 minutes for like a timeout. Like we do that, but like we're not yelling. We're not like angry or anything. It's literally like go on in your crate, and he knows. He gets in there, he calms down, he comes back out, he's fine. Enzo hardly ever has to get a timeout for anything now.
Kenya said hi from Wisconsin.
Hi.
Why did we neuter them? Because we didn't want puppies.
Well, and the health. There's health reasons why
Well, yeah, you can't not neuter them and then not let them breed either. Like you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, well, we didn't want ours to be able to breed, and we didn't want to breed them ourselves. And then in addition to that, there's some health concerns about keeping them intact too long. So that's why we neutered them.
Irene said these are the only Buckeye fans that she loves.
We are Buckeye fans, yep.
Walking the pups when the ground was hot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that drives me nuts. There's multiple times, this is not a good topic for me, really. There's been multiple times where it's like, it gets really hot here in the summer, and especially like with the humidity, like it's even more hot, but it'll be like 90 something degrees out. And if you look at, there's like a chart that you can look up on the Weather Channel where like if it's like 90 something degrees out, what the black top feels like, if you put your hand down on there, it's like 100 and something degrees. I think it's even more than that. It's like 120 degrees or something ridiculous. And I will see people out walking their dog for like extended walks. Like you can tell they've been out for a long time. And it's like 90 something degrees here. The concrete's like 110 or 115 degrees. And like I guess they don't know, but like I'll want to pull over and tell them, like, you do realize that the concrete is like significantly hotter than how it feels out. But what we do, and we'll tell you multiple times, like we'll go outside and I'm like, man, it's really hot on here. I'll take off my shoe and I'll put my bare foot on the concrete.
Or your hand.
Or my hand. And it's 7 seconds. So if you can't hold the palm of your hand or the bottom of your foot on the concrete for, I think it's 7 seconds, then your dog should not be walking on that at all whatsoever.
Avoid, like there's been times where we've gone out in direct sunlight, like me and Enzo down to the levee and stuff. We walk in the shade. And if we have to not walk in the shade, like across the street, we do it very fast.
Yeah, we do walk in the shade a lot. And then like at our park, there is a lot of grass on like the outer part of it. And so then we'll just have them kind of walk in there. And then I can remember multiple times, like we'll go hiking instead of going like to a regular park. Just so they are not on, their paws aren't on that concrete. Yeah, it tears them up too. Like Enzo's are probably Enzo's older.
They do regardless.
But yeah, I mean, they get rough anyway, but like it ruins their little paw pads. Like you have to be super careful about that.
James De Los Santo asked if we could link the K9. I will in just a second.
What are you linking?
The K9 website.
Oh, yeah, off leash. They're amazing.
Coat maintenance. So Josh Kavanaugh asked about coat maintenance.
So we keep up with their hygiene really, really well. Will wipes them down. I mean, really, anytime that they come home from doing something, they get a wipe down. So that keeps up with their hygiene. And then brushing them also keeps up with it. So that would be like the only other like weird thing that thing that we do for their coats. And then the other thing is we give them fish oil, which also helps keep what are you doing? Which also helps keep their coats super healthy. So that's kind of the things that we do. Brushing them is really, really important. We don't do that as much as we should do that. Honestly, like if we stuck with brushing them every couple days for just 5 or 10 minutes, they would shed a lot less. So that's what we always tell people that are like super been out of shape over the shedding, is just continuously brush them. And it'll get better. It takes about a week or so for you to notice a difference, but it really does make a huge difference. We don't do it quite enough.
So Mary Ruth asked about her Pomeranian that was 13. He was 5 when I got him. He was mistreated. He barks constantly. Is there a way to get him to calm down? So,
yeah,
that dog breed barks a lot anyway.
Yeah, that's a breed, I think, just from like my experience, that they bark a pretty significant amount. My thing is you don't really want them you don't want to teach them to not use their voice. I've said that like a million times. I feel like I'm always kind of against that because that's their only way to express to you anything. And so if you teach them not to bark, you take away their voice, and they can't distinguish between like, oh, I just can't bark when someone's outside, but I'm allowed to bark when we're at the park. Like they don't know the difference. So if you teach them not to bark, then you're not going to ever be able to get them to bark again. And I actually think we have a subscriber that the previous owner taught them that they weren't allowed to bark. And so now he literally can't get his dog to bark hardly ever. I mean, there's calming things that you could use or implement with them that maybe would help the situation. So I know Thundershirt makes a calming spray. We use it with Lotus. And that really does help. So maybe spraying that by the door, by the window, or wherever that area is that they're barking outside at. Thundershirt could always help. That's calming and natural, obviously. And then we just started using CBD oil with Lotus, and we can also put that link in there. I'll have to give it to Will though. And I feel like that's really made a difference with him in the past couple of days. It's only been a couple days that we've been using it, but that could also help. So you can always do some natural things that might help a little bit with the barking, but you don't really want to take away their voice.
Bob Ross said he's currently in the puppy training class at Petsmart in Canada, and so far so good. So that's
good. That's good.
How often do you brush the pups? I think you just answered that.
Yeah, I did. We don't brush them nearly enough. I'll say that. Oh, the light went off.
Oh, okay. Why do no YouTubers have female German Shepherds? I don't know. My radiation gaming ass. Am I allowed to keep my dog in the house? Can I keep him in the garage or backyard?
I mean,
why would you not be allowed to keep the dog in your house?
Yeah, I feel like I can't answer that without like, I don't want to be mean or anything.
Let's see. Somebody asked about biting, but you just talked about
Yeah, I did talk about the biting. So if you go back and listen to that, that'll help with that.
Robert wanted to know, what is our take on raw food?
We get asked that a lot. We do not raw diet for our pups. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm intrigued by it. And I think you've mentioned before, like you're kind of intrigued by it. And I think you're even more for it because I think you initially kind of wanted to do something like that. So I don't know a whole lot. I know that it's very time consuming and I know that it can be expensive depending on what you're getting. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And we just like our lifestyles right now don't really allow for a whole lot of extra time to be taken. So we don't know enough about it to give a take on it. But I've heard amazing things about it for the people that do use it because we get people all the time that are like, hey, we do a raw diet, like these are the benefits, and it sounds great. I just don't know enough about it, and it scares me to like think about like what the process is of switching them over to that and like how time consuming that's going to be. So happy to hear anybody that has like opinions on that or what's the easiest way to go about that or what's the benefits of that. Like I'm absolutely happy to listen to any of that. It just seems like it would be super, super challenging.
What size crate do you use in the Amazon link? Whatever the largest.
The biggest one.
Yeah.
We get that question a lot too. I always tell people because they're like, well, can I just get a medium one now? And then no, they will be out of the medium one in about 3.2 days. So just get the extra large. Use the divider that they come. I think the one that we have linked comes with the divider. Use that divider to make the crate much smaller in the beginning. And then as they get bigger, you can scoot the divider back so you have more space. And then eventually you can just take it out. They will grow out of the smaller crate so quickly. And then they're not cheap.
No.
I mean, they're not like super cheap. I mean, they're reasonable, but they're not like something cheap to buy. You don't want to be buying 1 or 2 or 3 of these things. Just get the biggest one.
Cameron, thanks for the super chat. Originally from Michigan,
thanks, Cameron.
Georgia. Just wanted to say thanks. He has a 4-month-old German Shepherd, Axel.
Axel, that's a cute name.
Fidencio gave another super chat. He said he barks now, but when I got him about 4 years ago, he was conditioned not to do a lot of things. Yeah.
That's the subscriber I was talking about. When he got the dog, he was conditioned not to bark, and it took him.
Hard to get him.
It's so hard to get them to bark again like that. It's ridiculous when they're conditioned to not bark. You don't ever want to take their voice away.
Amanda Raphael asked about introducing them to Rally. And did we get her before or after?
We get this question, I'd say once a day. We really should probably do a video on it. So we actually had Rally first. We had another cat first too. So we had 2 cats initially. And Rally is just, I don't know. Like, I don't know if she's like okay.
I see Riley answered this, but.
Oh, okay. I don't know if she's like okay with other animals or were okay with Enzo and Lotus because she knew that they were puppies. Or maybe she's just like a cat that really doesn't mind other animals. I don't know. Like, she's just very okay with another pet coming into the house. Now, I think if it was a cat, it would be different. But that's why we got Enzo and Lotus when they were as small as they could be, because I think, and she's a pretty big cat, actually. Yeah. They always tell me that she's very large.
She's like 13 pounds.
Yeah, she's like 13 or 14 pounds. So we got them as puppies because we wanted them to be around the same size as her so that she would be more accepting, and she's really perfectly fine with it. I always tell people to make sure that the cat has a separate place in the house where the pups cannot get to. So, like, for example, there's Bubba. Here, let me see your face. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, say hi, Bubba. Say hi, Bubba. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Lotus is passed out. We tell people to make sure that they have a safe place for the cat in the house. So for us, that's our office where like Will does all of his stuff. She has like a really tall cat house in there, and her food and water is in there. Now the dogs do go in there, and they can go in there, but we have a little latch on the outside of the door that if we really want to, we can lock both of them out of there. So she has that safe place to go to. That is the most important thing, because the cat will eventually come around to the pup, you know, but if she doesn't want to, then at least she has a spot of her own to be in. Yeah. So we always say to do that. And then, I don't know, Rally was just really good with getting the pups. I don't know.
She's very tolerant.
I also tell people that we let her put them, well, she doesn't have to with
Enzo. She puts them in their place.
Yeah, we let her put him, but really Lotus, in his place. So like sometimes he'll be like, oh, I'm going to aggravate the cat today. And we let her swipe at him a couple times, and that naturally then just takes care of itself, because then he's like, yeah, I don't think I want to mess with the cat now. So we also let her do that. And that, I mean,
she has claws, but she's never used them.
She doesn't. She'll swipe, but like she doesn't actually put her claws out. So I don't know. We've just gotten really lucky with her, I think.
But they were also the same.
We also still give her though a lot of attention too. Like she's allowed to like she hangs out with Will a lot, so like she still gets a decent amount of attention. So I don't feel like she feels like she's neglected or anything, and I think that helps. Enzo's always ignored her, like not really ignored her, but like he doesn't really care that there's a cat hanging out. So like he's never chased her or anything. So they've always had like a good relationship. Lotus, on the other hand, will aggravate her.
Riley mostly answered it already, but how we came up with their names.
Cars. They're named after cars. Did Riley say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even so is Riley, and Evo was too.
Yeah. Yep. Cats, pups, all named after cars.
Jordan wants to know who they're rooting for in the Super Bowl. Apparently it's the Chiefs versus the 49ers.
I was going to say I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl. I don't watch NFL football anymore. I used to when the Bengals were somewhat good, but I really don't watch.
Those would just prefer to keep the TV off.
NFL anymore. We are college. We watch college football.
How do you get consistent collar with the e-collar, or consistent contact? Just have to have it really tight.
Yeah, not really. You don't want to like strangle them. And so you're moving the thing here. We, on our e-collars that we have, they have short prongs and long prongs. With their fur being as thick as it is because of that double coat, we make sure that the long prongs are on there. And then like what we will do sometimes is like pull the fur apart a little bit and then stick it like on their neck there so that it gets actual contact. It really shouldn't be like, you should be able to put at least 2 fingers underneath of the collar. And that's tight enough. I wouldn't go any tighter than that. So use the long prongs and then maybe separate the hair before you put it on. But not too tight.
So Karn's family wants to know what's the worst thing to eat.
So there was I don't know why this even came to my mind, because it really wasn't that big of a deal, but we sometimes have snakes here, and I guess one was trying to cross the street and it got ran over by a car, so that was really unlucky. But this was like right when we got Lotus. He was still a baby, and of course, like the snake stayed there on the street forever. And when they're little like that, like you don't really take them to the park. So like our exercise consisted of walking up and down the street multiple times. And every single time he would go to that stupid snake in the road. And before I knew what it was, I can remember because we let them pretty much run free. And I was like down here at the next door neighbors, and it was right in front of our house, and he was like licking it to death. And I'm like, what is this? And then I realized, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then he was obsessed with it forever. He didn't really eat it though. He licked it. What else?
Enzo was mostly just the mulch. Enzo was obsessed with mulch.
The mulch stage, I really thought I wasn't going to make it through that one. I'm not going to lie. The mulch stage drove me to the point where I almost removed all of the mulch from the yard.
Instead, she just stopped taking Enzo out.
It was ridiculous. They really haven't eaten anything crazy though. Like I'm trying to think, like neither of them like eaten a bird or any kind of weird animal or anything like that. So nothing too crazy.
Jay Dangle, thanks for the super chat.
Thank you.
They have a German Shepherd, Fritz, 1 year old.
Fritz. What a cute name. Fritz. That's adorable, you have to admit. Oh.
So yeah, rehab. I'm saying that wrong.
Where?
Right there. But just asked about how old they have to be to go on walks. She kind of just answered that.
Yeah.
The snake story.
So I'll elaborate on that though, because we get that question a lot. Because people want to know, like, well, you tell us like we need to socialize as early as we can. Like, what is as early as we can? They can really, I mean, with ours, we let them walk up and down our street. But like if a neighbor dog were to come outside and Lotus was a baby, like we would just pick Lotus up, because until they have those all of their shots at 16 weeks, they really shouldn't be like touching noses or licking or being around other pups unless you know that they're vaccinated. So like it was obviously okay that Lotus was around Enzo because we knew Enzo was completely up to date on shots. The neighbor down the street who has Charlie, if you've watched, those videos that Charlie is in, he's another German Shepherd. He was allowed to interact as a baby. I mean, literally, like as soon as they got him, he was allowed to play with Enzo and Lotus because they knew that our dogs are vaccinated properly. So, I mean, really, you can take them on walks at any point in time. But if they're under that 16-week mark and they haven't had those shots, I would just make sure that you grab them and pick them up if another dog approaches. And then if you take them to a park, just make sure that they're not like licking the concrete or the garbage cans or eating any kind of like poop or anything like that. We really did not take him to the park much, but we did walk up and down our street a lot. That was primarily what we did until he was 16, both of them really, until they were 16 weeks old.
Bailey responded. She was the one asking about the food.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently their pup has stomach issues.
Okay.
And ear issues.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I would say you're perfectly fine with that prescription diet. Yeah, I mean, if they have some sort of allergy or food sensitivity, absolutely, that makes 100% sense there, yeah. I don't know. I think she asked about a specific brand. I don't know a lot about that brand, but I believe that that's the same brand that they put us on when they did the stomach reset. And actually, both of ours wound up liking it. Even though it's like the most bland food ever, ours actually liked it. So I think it's fine.
Carnes fam, thanks for the super chat.
Thank
and
you.
Apparently their dog ate a sock and lost half of her intestines. So
Oh my gosh, yeah.
that's not good.
It happens. It does. I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. That's unfortunate though, because I'm sure that surgery was scary. I hate the whole anesthesia thing with the animals. So that's scary.
Rag and Exo. I don't know if my puppy is dreaming, but he flutters his eyes and shakes a lot
Yeah.
when he sleeps.
Enzo does that. Lotus not so much, but Enzo all the time. He sounds like, I don't even know what he sounds like, but he does that too.
You already answered that about the experience with Gentle Giants.
Yeah, if you didn't get that part about Gentle Giants, I did like a whole few minute spiel on that. So when this is over, you can go back and listen to that if you don't care.
Irene asked why we went with a different breeder. It's just because Enzo's wasn't breeding anymore.
Yeah, I'm so sad about that. And I still check that regularly because Enzo's breeders, really, it was a husband and a wife. They had been doing it for like a combined total of 20 something years. That's all that they've really ever done, and they were amazing from the get-go. I just had a good feeling with them. And unfortunately, because that's the first place we checked, or I checked when we went to get a second one, is Enzo's breeder, and they had no longer been breeding.
Retired.
Yeah, I think they retired. But I do check it regularly because I would love to know if they eventually start that back up again. I don't know why they.
Lisa asked about when we started training them. You answered that in the beginning.
I did answer that earlier. Enzo, we started training around a year. Lotus was 5.5 months. That's a quick answer, though. So then she doesn't have to go all the way back.
When would you start training a new command? She will still get confused sometimes on her current ones.
So I always tell people, teach sit first. Sit is the easiest command to teach, especially with treats. Teach that first. Do that over and over and over again until they have it down and they're not making any mistakes, and then move on to the next command.
Yeah,
I mean that's
how
pretty
quick. I mean, off leash is 1 week.
Yeah, off leash. When we did our actual training through them, you learned one command each week that you did it. So yeah, I mean, I would roughly practice on just one specific one for a week, and then see if they've retained that consistently.
Cameron Green has a husky and a German Shepherd. Says the husky is the independent one.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Does what she wants.
German Shepherds are Velcro dogs. They're right there at your side 24/7. Lotus is a little bit more independent, but
A lot more.
Enzo is not independent at all. He needs to be with somebody 24/7.
Lisa M asks, do we crate them when we leave? Lotus, absolutely. Enzo, it depends.
Yeah, it depends on Enzo, but Lotus always gets crated. How old was Enzo when we started?
That's when we got
Lotus.
We went through a couple different phases, but definitely before we got Lotus. Definitely when we got Lotus, for sure.
Yeah. He was pretty mature, I felt like, at that age. We had tried it when he was much younger, and it didn't
well for a while.
It didn't work out after it was a short period of time. But definitely, I think once we got Lotus, Enzo was out for the majority after that.
I ran out. I gotta refresh. This isn't the next question.
This was lemon water. I was not expecting that.
But Irene asked, will you get a female dog next?
Probably, yes. I wanted a female dog when we got Lotus, but I tend to, when I'm looking at a litter of puppies, I tend to pick the saddest one, and Lotus literally looked so sad. So I just had to have that one. It didn't matter if it was a boy or a girl, even though I really wanted a girl. So that's how we got Lotus as a male. And so when we go to get another one, obviously our goal will be to get a girl. I don't know, though. I think it would be kind of cool to have 3 boys. They get along so well. Well, Enzo gets along with, any other pup. He's fine with it. He doesn't care, girl, boy, whatever. But ultimately, it will come down to, which one pulls at my heart the most. And if that's a boy, then it'll be a boy. But my goal is to get a girl. And for those of you that are wondering, her name would be Royce, as in Rolls Royce.
She sounds like she'll be inexpensive. Mike from Jacksonville, you think it will be hard to train my future pup to the same training as yours? We just used off leash.
Nope.
And a lot of time.
Be consistent, work on it a lot. I remember when Enzo went through training, Will and him nonstop worked on training all the time. Lotus, I don't think we did anything too crazy.
A lot of Lotus's training is around other things.
Lotus was a lot easier, I felt like, to train just because he followed what Enzo did. So it was just easier with him, I think. With Enzo, it was he was a little bit more. Yeah, it was new for us, and he was a little bit more stubborn, I think, with some of the commands.
Yeah. Lotus trains easy.
But Lotus was super easy to train.
Are German Shepherds good for a first-time dog owner? And are they good with kids? But we're first-time dog owners. So.
Yeah, so I probably get this question 2 or 3 times a day. Actually, this is probably one of the most asked questions is, are German Shepherds good for a first-time owner? And my response is if you are willing to put forth the time and effort, the money that it takes, the time that it's going to take to socialize them, train them, stimulate them and that whole deal. Like if you have the right lifestyle to do that, absolutely, you will have no problem at all. I mean, we're first-time German Shepherd owners, and we've done just fine, I think. But if you're somebody that does not have the lifestyle that's going to permit that, I would say absolutely not, because this is a high maintenance breed. They require a lot of your time and a lot of your money.
Yeah.
Money for sure.
John Lennon asked, did we notice any difference when they turned 2? Like, Lotus isn't 2 yet.
Lotus
not
isn't
really.
2.
Not really. Like, they didn't change behavior.
I'll tell you when I noticed a difference in Enzo was when we got Lotus. Didn't you? Like, I felt like he had to be more responsible or more mature or something. I don't know. I felt like I noticed a change in Enzo after we got Lotus. But, I mean, he's always been really good. But I just felt like he matured a little bit more. Lotus isn't 2 yet, so we don't really know. I'm hoping that he's good now, but I hope that, like, maybe I've heard a lot of people have told me that the older he gets, the easier the reactiveness will become. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that not necessarily that he's going to grow out of it, but the more we continue to work with him and the more that he matures, the easier it will be.
K West asks, has there ever been a time Enzo and Lotus did not recall? No. Even Lotus has always recalled.
No, I'll tell you what, that training we went through, I mean, the training that they've been through is amazing.
Even Lotus at its worst just wouldn't recall on a dime necessarily.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes
he
it
could
would take him a
be
second or say it twice or something, but
you might have to say it twice
with Lotus,
only when he's in like that blackout stage, like if he's being reactive towards another dog, and he's like completely just not there, you usually will have to say it twice then, but he's right out of it after that. I mean, they recall amazingly. I can't say enough good things about the training that we did with them.
Thoughts on services such as Rover or WAG to have someone come get the dog? Yeah. Jordan asked that.
We would never, but that's just that is solely our personal preference, though.
I don't even trust like our family or friends to take, and it's nothing against them. It's just
no. My mom is
I don't trust my family or friends with their cars either.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
my mom is the only one that the pups go to. So like you'll see, like we'll drop them off to her and my sister and brother sometimes. And she really is the only one. But like, it wouldn't be a situation where she would take them to the park. It's not, I mean,
she also doesn't have any dogs.
Yeah, she doesn't have any dogs there either. So it makes it a little bit easier. But, and she would never want to, I don't even know if she would trust herself to take them to the park because she knows and she's been around and exposed to what that's like to handle them in that situation. So, I mean, really the only person that they go to is my mom's, and my mom has like a really big backyard that's completely fenced in. So it works out great. But yeah, I mean, we would never trust someone there's never a situation that I can imagine that we would allow someone else to come in and get them and take them somewhere ever.
Miss Levin asked about the wipe down, but it looks like Riley pretty much nailed it. So yeah, I mean, we wipe their paws every time.
Thanks, Riley. Riley knows everything because I don't know how long he's been following us, but a pretty significant amount of time. So he can answer the questions pretty well.
How do you get your dogs hydrated? Just water.
We let them free drink, so they have water downstairs and upstairs. Yeah. Research shows that if they don't have access to water, they start to get very stressed out. So they should always have access to water. It's the opposite with food. They should not be free fed. They should have a set schedule of when they eat each day.
And so Mrs. Levin had a follow-up there. Like, yeah, I mean, literally. Now, if it's like summertime and it's completely dry out and we go out, I may not wipe their paws, but like this time of year, every single time, all 8 of them.
Yeah. You would be shocked at what bacteria gets on the bottom of your shoes and the bottom of their paws and then comes in. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if it's like middle of July and dry out and they just go out for a few minutes, no, not necessarily. How did you teach them not to pull on the leash? Jessica wants to know.
We did
That's a good question. We'll let you know. We'll figure it out.
We have never taught them to not pull on the leash because we don't ever walk them on a leash. You'll see in some of the videos that
I have a leash, it's just for safety.
Yeah, we'll put Lotus
Or to
on
make other people feel safe.
a leash when we're like at Lowe's or something like that. But Lotus isn't walking freely on a leash. He's in the heel command when he has that leash on. So ours actually do not know how to walk on a leash. If we strapped a leash on Enzo and went to the park and said, okay, let's go for a walk,
It's not going to be fun.
I would literally be on the ground and he would be dragging me because he does not know how to walk on a leash. That's why we love the heel command.
Probably should.
We should teach them that, but
Morgan Cunningham wants to know if we're getting a St. Bernard.
yes, that's the one. That's the next dog that I want is a St. Bernard. And actually, somewhere around us, I forget the name of the place, but I sent you a picture of
That's why she asked, because I posted it.
Yeah, I wanted him so bad. He was so cute. He was just like a little ball of fluff. Yes, I want a St. Bernard to be the next one that we get.
Carter asked how we get them to stop chasing shadows. We'll let you know.
We don't. They would just let them do that. Enzo doesn't really. Lotus is obsessed with shadow chasing.
Yeah.
And he will like dig at the floor that we have in our house. He will dig at it and pounce onto the floor for the shadow. Yeah. We've not overcome that.
Sue said, hey.
Hi, Sue.
Jessica said, thanks. Sue said she's out of that one class. Mixon said, hello. Still haven't convinced my parents to get a German Shepherd. John wants to know his 2-year-old pup is still squats when he pees. That's actually normal.
Yeah. I actually prefer when they squat.
They learn the heel hike. That's not innate. Like that's something.
Yeah, they
learn.
pick that. That's a learned behavior. The hiking the leg is a learned behavior. Enzo still squats most of the time. He will sometimes at the park hike his leg. Lotus learned to hike his leg from the dog next door. And his name's Gus. He's so cute. So Lotus learned that behavior from Gus. So Lotus, I feel like most of the time hikes his leg. Does he still squat sometimes when we go out back though?
Oh, lots of times. Even at the park a lot of times.
Yeah, he still squats, but Lotus does hike his leg way more than Enzo. Enzo rarely hikes his leg. But that's a learned behavior, so if they haven't been like really exposed to it, they'll still squat. Which I actually prefer.
Evan said they just got an 8-week German Shepherd all black named Zora.
Aww.
Any advice on separation anxiety? I can't leave him for 2 minutes without flipping out.
Yeah, you're gonna need to get used to that.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. Enzo kind of has the separation anxiety. Lotus, not so much. Now, Lotus has separation anxiety from Enzo, but Lotus doesn't have separation anxiety from us. I would maybe try like some natural things, and I talked about some of those things earlier, like Thunder Shirt. They have the actual Thunder Shirt, which can be very calming. Can have like a very calming effect, especially on a puppy. And then Thunder Shirt also makes a calming spray that you could spray in the area that the pup is staying in, like their crate or whatever, while you leave. Or trying to think of what else. There's a lot of natural stuff out there that you could try for just like calming effects. But I'm gonna say Enzo is a little over 3.5 years old, and seriously, Riley, and he still has separation anxiety. That will probably not be something that ever goes away. Fortunately, Will gets to work from home, so he really doesn't have to be away from anybody for extended periods of time.
Fidencio wants to know, how do you teach the heel command? That's something you learn in off leash.
Yeah, you learn it through training.
Thanks for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. I feel like I say this about every question because these are very common questions that we get like every day. But people always ask for Will to do a video on how to teach the dog to heel. And my response is always that is not something that you can learn through like a video tutorial. The heel command is truly,
we couldn't teach.
It's not something that we could teach through a video tutorial. That is truly something that needs to be done in person. It's so much more complex than you think. Like it doesn't work as easy as you think it does. Now you see the pups do it very easily, and that's just because they've been trained very well. But that's not something that we will never do a video on that.
Cameron said the other dog, Coda, German Australian mix, her hips are popping out when we go on extended walks. Could this be an early sign of hip dysplasia? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely. The thing is you don't want it to continue, and you don't want to make the problem worse if there is a problem. So I would definitely reach out to a vet. You may need to see a specialist about it. You can always try some joint supplements. So those should be linked somewhere.
They're linked in all the videos.
Yeah, they're linked in all the videos. But we use fish oil and Dasaquin, and that helps with that sort of stuff. But if they're popping out of place, that seems a little bit more alarming to me. I would definitely seek some medical advice on that for sure.
Jessica, they just rescued a dog and the cat will not come into the house now.
Yeah.
How do we keep, I don't know if we have an answer for that.
The cat coming in?
Yeah.
Is it an inside and an outside cat, or is it normally just an inside only cat?
Because Riley kept her distance a little while.
Yeah, that's why I said you always have to have a room that is safe.
Well, they said they do, but
yeah.
But Riley still at first would always keep a safer distance.
Yeah.
Andrea asked, how do you keep him from eating Riley's food? It's hard.
It hasn't been hard with Enzo.
Enzo did it a couple times, but with Enzo, that door was almost always blocked.
Yeah.
With Lotus, it's not always blocked.
Still does it. And I'll come home from work or something and be like, when did the dog get into the cat's food? And he's like, oh, that must have happened when I was in the shower or something. It still happens with Lotus. Now, if we catch him in there looking at the food, he immediately gets told off. But if he knows that he can take advantage of the situation, like when Will's in the shower and the door has not been latched shut, he'll go in there. He's got no cares about that situation. It's tough. I mean, like, we could ideally put Riley's food.
Sometimes I will.
Yeah, we could put Riley's food, like, up on her cat house because she has a really tall cat house. But I would just put it somewhere where the pup can't get to it. Like, that door can be latched. We just forget to latch it sometimes. So ultimately, we could keep him out of there if we really wanted to.
Fidencio gave us another super chat. Somehow I think I missed it, but he was just saying there's some other channels talking about the raw diets.
Oh, okay.
But thanks for the super chat. I somehow missed that one.
Thank you. What else we got? I see Riley's keeping up with a lot of it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Riley.
Holly said she lost 10 pounds in 6 months with her new puppy.
Yeah, they keep you fit, that's for sure.
Nixon, why is Lotus wearing the jacket? I think you talked about that already, kind of.
Yeah, his anxiety has been rough lately. Will did a video a couple weeks ago. You think that's been a couple weeks now? Probably a couple weeks ago. It was during the 30-day situation, and in that video, the wind was like really, really high that day, and so I typically, like, Will does the videos, and then I either watch them that night before bed or I watch them the next day once they go up. Well, we were sitting down to watch the video, and the wind was just, like, extremely loud throughout the entire video. And for some reason, that, like, traumatized Lotus, and he's still traumatized from it. So we got the thunder shirt in the hopes that that would help him be a little bit more calm, and it really hasn't worked. So that's going to go back to Petsmart, which is where I got that from. And then we just started implementing the CBD oil. He does seem to be better the past couple of days. But, I mean, literally, we haven't been able to turn on the TV in the house because he will freak out. He cowers. He will run into the bathroom and lay in the bathroom on the bathroom floor because it's like our bathroom's smaller. He's been better the past couple of days. But, like, for some reason, the noise of the wind just, like, completely traumatized him, and he was not having that. So his anxiety's been really, really bad lately.
Adari is choosing between German Shepherd, Golden Retriever, and Labrador, but they work at night for 7 to 8 hours.
I would probably not get a German Shepherd.
No. And I probably wouldn't get a puppy either.
Definitely not, because that pup's going to need to go out every 2 hours at 8 weeks old. every 3 hours at 12 weeks old. So, I mean, you got a good amount of time before that pup can go 4, 5, 6 hours. I mean, it's going to be a while before you can work 7 or 8 hours without anyone coming in to let the pup out.
Keegan just got a German Shepherd named Zelda.
Zelda.
Lisa has not gotten hers yet, but she already has the name picked out.
Oh, what's the name, Lisa?
Can dogs contract the coronavirus? I have no idea.
I have no idea on that.
Bob got his Axel about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Riley plans on calling hers or his Parker.
That's a cute name.
She looked at the picture.
Oh, I didn't even know Nick was in here.
I didn't know he was on it.
You got the wrench too.
Oh, he must have literally just got here, or he just commented anyways, because that's the first time seeing it.
Hey, Nick.
So far, dog food, we already answered that. Jordan plans to name his Legend. But the girlfriend wants ramen noodle.
That's cute.
Who do Enzo and Lotus favor more? I'm guessing Will, but I don't know.
No, they both favor me. They do. Don't you say, okay, you know that they both of them favor me. Enzo especially. I don't know, Lotus especially too. Lotus loves to cuddle, and because I let him cuddle with me, that's why he loves me the most. Now, they are used to being with Will all day, every day. So when Will leaves, they get super bent out of shape over it. And like you would think that he's their favorite person because they're acting like that. It's just because he's always with them that they get bent out of shape about it. When I leave, nobody cares because I have to leave every single day. But I would say both of them favor me the most. Because, like, I'm always on the floor, like, with them when they're eating. I'm in their face. I let them get in the bed and cuddle with me. I treat them like babies. Like, I do all that stuff. And Will's all business, so.
Clearly, I missed something because people are talking about, I guess somebody had asked about issues pottying indoors. Looks like Riley got most of it, though.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that ask about the puppy pads. No, do not do the puppy pads indoors. That just reinforces the fact that the pup can go to the bathroom inside. No, do not do the puppy pads. You need to just set Riley. You need to just set a timer on your phone and take them out every couple hours.
Polly walks dogs like rabbits and brought one in and laid it on the chair.
Oh boy, I think I probably would have freaked out over that.
Right, throwing the chair away.
Yeah. And so you're not even on your bed, bud. What are you doing?
Miss Sullivan, I wanted to name my German Shepherd Rogue, but her original name from the shelter was Gracie.
Gracie's
So
cute,
they went
though.
with Maisie to make it similar. Enzo and Lotus's favorite toy, glow ball.
Rally. Enzo's favorite toy is glow ball. Lotus, seriously, Lotus's favorite thing is, I wouldn't call it a toy because he can't have it whenever he wants, but Lotus's favorite thing is antler.
Bailey, question on or opinion on prong collar.
I'm not a big fan of the prong collar. I've heard other people talk about it. We've never had exposure to it. It's the ones that have like the prongs that go like consistently in. Like if they pull, then it'll tighten and then it. I just like, I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm also not educated on it either. So I don't really want to say that I don't like them. I just don't know enough about them. And maybe if I understood them better, I would like them fine. But we have the e-collar, so we don't really have a need for the prong collar.
Royce seems to be popular.
Royce, yeah, it's a cute name.
If they're neutered, is it okay to have a mix of male and female dogs? I think that's actually, most people would say that's better.
Yeah. Really, seriously? Get over here then.
Good village. Training your dogs. Irene asked about training on play structures. I don't have it. I think play structures that like the obedience training
I
or
don't
something
know
like
who
that.
said it. Irene, clarify that for us. Riley, can you not?
Are stores normally okay with you bringing Enzo and Lotus in? Like Lowe's and Home Depot are fine.
Lowe's and Home, but see, not everybody's Lowe's and Home Depot allows pets. Our Lowe's and Home Depot, you're really gonna lay here, Riley, lets anyone bring dogs into the store. Now, Enzo has a vest that he wears, or that I put on him when I want to take him somewhere else. So Enzo has gone like grocery shopping at Kroger with me. And he's gone like in Target with me as well. So we really take Enzo wherever we want to, unless we're told that it's not okay. Lotus, I would not take into any store just because.
Well, just to clarify, it's not a vest that says he's a service dog.
No, it's just
we just put a vest so people just leave him
vest.
alone.
Yeah.
But we've also been taking him in there since he was a pup, and a lot of the employees just know him.
The employees at Lowe's know him.
So I don't know that necessarily all those stores would necessarily be okay with that if we brought him in now and had never brought him in when he was a pup, but they kind of just know him.
Yeah.
So
really, we just do it, and then if we're told not to, then we just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really how that goes for us. Enzo's super well behaved though, so like I don't know that we've ever taken him in somewhere and someone said you can't have a dog in here.
there was one place downtown that I'm still actually pretty sure you're allowed to have dogs in. I think the guy was just being weird.
Yeah. But really, we just do it, and then if someone's like, hey, you can't do that, then we're just like, whatever. Because Enzo's not a service dog, so, I mean, there is really not anything that we can do about it.
Ray said he finally got to put a crate away now that the puppy is 5 months old. That's good, but we're never going to put our crates away.
We have our crates still downstairs. Yeah.
I don't think whether they're pure breed or not has any effect on their lifespan.
I don't
Somebody
know.
asked that. I don't know.
It's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Do they listen to commands when they don't have their collars on? Yes.
Yes, they do. They know when they don't have the collar on, though. I will tell you that.
Miss Levin said she went and bought all the stuff for cleaning the pup. I'm skipping a lot because we've already answered them. So
yeah, if your question gets skipped and you're like, what the heck? It's because we already answered them, and we don't want people that have been in here from the beginning to have to listen to me say the same answer 5 times in a row. So if you feel like you got skipped, just go back to the beginning and watch the video because the answer's probably in there somewhere. If not, you can always DM me on Instagram. That's really the easiest way to have a conversation. Like, you guys comment on YouTube, which is fabulous, and I reply to every single one of those comments. But if it's like needs to be a conversation, like I usually say, hey, this is the info, but can you DM me on Instagram so that we can talk more about it? Just because once I comment on your comment in YouTube, it goes away and it never comes back. Like, we don't get a notification that you've re-commented on the original comment. So if you need to have a conversation about something, Instagram is the way to go.
Nick asked about bonking. I don't know what that is.
Nick is in like our Nick.
Yeah, he wants to know, have we seen the videos on bonking? I don't know what bonking is. Do you know what bonking?
Every time he always has something we don't know about. You ever notice that? He's like, hey, what about this? And we're like, we've never heard of that before.
I don't actually watch any other like pup YouTube videos or anything.
Nick, we don't know what you're talking about again. So if you can just help us out there. Every time it's something new.
Nathan said he sent us a picture of his pup a couple months ago. Thor, I kind of remember that because of that name. He's doing great. How do you handle the humping? He's just turned 6 months this week.
Yeah.
I think you just
got to deal with it. I mean,
you can distract him with something else.
Yeah, you can always use toys and stuff as distraction, but once you get him neutered, it'll work itself out.
Enzo says they love whoever exercises them.
Yeah. That would mean that Will's their favorite because I don't exercise them.
Lisa said she could send us pictures of sheltered pups. You can send them to us. I don't know that we'll know if they're actually a purebred or not. I'm not an expert.
We won't be able to know that just by looking at them. There's really no way. I mean, if they're not, I feel like it's sometimes very obvious because you can tell that they're mixed with something else. But I mean, it would be super hard to tell just from a picture.
Oh yeah, we've seen the home diffuser, the calming thing. You've been looking into those.
We have one of those for Riley.
Yeah. How do you keep them from crying and helping if they want something? Don't stop doing the shepherd cry when they want something. I just ignore it.
Yeah, we really do just ignore it. Sometimes I'll ask them to be quiet. They don't really listen to that though, because it's not like a command or anything. I don't know. Sometimes they will. We just, yeah, I mean, for the most part, we just ignore it. It's, again, comes back to the thing of you don't want to take away their voice. They are one of the most vocal breeds out there. So if you don't want to listen to the crying and whining, you probably definitely shouldn't get a German Shepherd because they are very vocal and they do that most of the time.
I mean, asked how long we've been married.
This year will be 6 years. Since July. What month did we get married? In June or July? My mom would know if my mom is watching. I think it was July 17th of 2015. So this July, it'll be 6 years.
5.
Really?
20 minus 15. Math teacher.
15, 16, 16. So it'll be 5 years this year. But we've been together for 11 years this November, or this September 19th. I do remember that one.
Marriage was a formality.
Will really didn't want to get married. Did you, babe? You didn't want to get married, did you?
I asked you.
We were together a really long time before we got married. So we've been together for 11 years, but we've only been married for almost 5. So it took him a very long time to come around to it, which I didn't really care. I mean, we lived together really from that first year. I mean, we were together not even a year, I think, before we moved in together. So it really didn't matter at that point. It was really more of a formality, I think, for everyone.
Very expensive formality.
It was not very expensive. And for the record, we didn't pay for a whole lot of it. So it really doesn't matter. It wasn't expensive on your part. It was expensive on my mom and dad's part.
I think we're pretty much.
Are we caught up?
Yeah.
We did pretty good then because it's only been an hour and 22 minutes.
Breeder selling a German Shepherd for $300. There's something wrong there.
No. Research your breeders. I cannot say that enough. Just a standard full-blooded German Shepherd, like if you're not looking for anything crazy, I would say anywhere between $800 and $1,000. If it's much less than that, I would be concerned.
Yeah.
That would be a red flag for
good
me
to be
personally.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like Riley already answered it, but yeah, we don't really have opinions on the dog walker apps. My sister works.
Yeah, his sister does actually work for WEG, I think. And his sister is like amazing with animals. I feel like every animal, like Riley is very particular about people and she loves your sister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your sister's just really good. So just because we don't use it doesn't mean we're against it. I think that they're fabulous services, especially for people out there that have to like work all the time and they don't have the type of lifestyle to work from home and things like that. That's amazing. It's just that we would never use one, but it's just a personal decision. We don't have anything against them at all.
Thanks for the super chat, Lynetta and Puppy Bowl. I assume you like the Super Bowl. And
Enzo and Lotus. Watch the Puppy Bowl. Oh my gosh.
Was that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just meant for Super Bowl.
No, there's an actual Puppy Bowl.
Oh.
No, Lotus would go insane. We should actually, I wonder if she knows when that's coming on.
I mean, we can just put our own videos on to make Lotus go insane.
Because if he were to see that, like, he would have a meltdown, like complete 100% meltdown mode over Puppy Bowl. So no, we will not be watching the Puppy Bowl. We can't even hardly watch our own YouTube videos. Like, it's a challenge to get through a video when I watch them at nighttime. Because he's reactive to himself and to Enzo. Like, he's reactive. It's a whole ordeal. We should actually film that one time just so people can see what that's like for me to sit down and watch a 12-minute video of our own.
Doesn't matter.
It's, yeah.
But yeah, there's been a couple more questions in, but Riley's got them. So
Thanks, Riley.
Oh, here's the back. I got a feeling it's not going to be good. Oh yeah, it's not going to be good. You can already tell.
Nick just sent us, which
Yeah,
is
I'm not-
Gordo
yeah,
in
that's
the
not good.
chat,
That's not good.
about what bonking is.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's like
It's
a
not good.
not a good training technique to use. What's that last one there, the long one?
She was the one that had a question about the $300 dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're all caught up, which is awesome. Usually, sometimes it takes us like 2 hours to get there. So either we're being more efficient or I don't know. It helps to have Riley and Nick in there answering some of the questions too. So, all right. I guess Will's going to show you the pups real quick.
Apparently, Riley's not really.
This cat's ridiculous. Riley. Bubba.
Enzo.
Can you say hi to your fans?
Got the head tilts.
You're out of focus.
Head tilts. Head tilt.
Bubba. He's so handsome.
Lotus.
You sleepy? You sleepy? I know it. I know it. Come on, Bubba. Oh, that was enough for Riley.
All that just to avoid Enzo. Or Lotus.
Lotus.
All right. Well, that'll do it then.
All right, you guys. What did we say? We were going to try to do this
Every week.
now?
Yeah. So, sometime on the weekend.
Either Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
We'll probably make that decision about midweek, depending on what we have going on that weekend. And what are you going to do? Let them know on Friday's video?
Yeah, or post it up or something. But yeah.
So.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Okay.
See you guys.
All right. Bye, guys.